is good, man. That's the thing I keep telling myself every day because, and we can kind of get started just on this basis. And so, for those of you that are just joining us, sorry that we were late today, but we had a little bit of an issue with technology, as sometimes we do. But we're joined by Sean Herrero and Roland Cochrun, two of our best buds and great contributors to the Momentum Builder family. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about personal brand and kind of all things mortgage and lead gen and social media and how all that stuff impacts us today. And what I was just saying about the grind is good is if you don't have that mindset of the grind is good, you can't win in this market. This market will throw more challenges at you than I've seen since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's gonna be this hard, you have to embrace the suck and lean in.
Which bring, because I don't know, for those of you who just saw my email that I sent out to people who are on my email list. And if you're not on my email list, do it. I don't spam anybody. I send one email out a week. It's short. It's like a page and a half long. And the whole design is just to, exactly kind of what Gino was saying, is just to keep tab. The reason I send them out weekly is keep tabs on what's going on, both with you and with the marketplace. But when Sean, I was excited to have Sean come on and do this with me, because when you pair Sean and I, we get a little angry, so we'll probably offend some people. So we'll see some participants dropping off as we go. Sean and I are, we try to be as PC as possible, but there's a lot of stuff that really irritates Sean and I about commission-based industries, in terms of people clinging on to archaic marketing principles and branding principles that just don't work anymore. And so I'm going to go here for a second, if it's okay, Gino, and then I'd love to hear kind of Sean piggyback. And then Gino, I'd love for you to kind of inject, especially from your local market, what you've been seeing. But, really when Sean and I talk about personal brand, I saw Sean's story the other day. He said, how to create a personal brand. He's like, you already got it. It's you. And, I think just from a really, really high level, I just want everyone to, really think about, the realities of mortgage. It's this really special industry where you're not on the front lines. And it's funny because I hear loan officers like bitching about wishing they were on the front lines. Like, man, I wish I was, why don't these clients come straight to me? It's so annoying. They go to the agents first, all this. I'm telling you, y'all don't want to be on the front lines. My new business that I just started, I'm on the front line, and it is so much work. I'm spending so much time and money plastering my face everywhere I possibly can in this new industry. Mortgage is this really special industry where you are partners with people who are on the front lines. So they're doing all of this exhausting, tedious, awful work. And then they're kicking you the loan that they just got. And, I really think in an industry like this, and we're not just talking about real estate agents, we're talking about any referral partner. This could be CPAs, financial planners, this could be industry, just local influencers in your marketplace. But what I say that story just to understand, really to thrive in this industry, it's about being the person that they want to send the referral to, that they want to tell their friends about. I mean, that's really winning in this. And I mean, to be honest, that's winning in any industry. If you can do that, you can be a successful entrepreneur in basically any business ever. Like for those of you who've come to my Profitable Personal Brand event, that's what I always say in the beginning, is it's like, okay, yes, we're talking about mortgage, but this applies to any business out there. But that's kind of the vibe today, is really, what Sean and I talk about a lot is just this idea of becoming the person that gets the referral. And yes, most commonly people call that personal branding. But when Sean and I are talking about, we're not talking about website, font colors, logos. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about showing someone who you are so that they can pick you if they like someone like you. And if they don't, if they don't like me, then they'll pick Sean. And if they don't like someone like Sean, then they'll pick Gino. But they're only going to pick me, Sean, or Gino if me, Sean, and Gino do a good job of showing them what we are, why we work, what our unique abilities are, what we value, because then they're going to make a judgment call. Which of these three people do I want to support? And that's, to me, that's branding. That's how it works. Sean, what's your definition? What didn't I say? What did I skip that's important to hit?
Well, I think it's interesting. So Neil Dinger had a call this morning on personal brand. I caught like the first 5-10 minutes of it. And what he started with was personal brand is the key out of the rat race. And that may be true for other industries, but I see it as my personal brand is the key into the rat race. I don't have a race to run if people don't want to use me for their mortgages. Right. So I think in our industry, and that's what Gino said, right? Like Gino opened this call with the exact same thing. Like if you want to do this job in the current environment, you better be in for the grind. And if you're not in for the grind and you want it to be easy, there's no easy button for this business. I haven't found it. I haven't found it unless you want to go spend millions of dollars building a call center and doing this and that. But you either have time or you have money. And so the way that I look at my personal brand ever since that became a term, which drives me crazy. That's even something we talk about, but I need to be myself as much as possible to attract people who would actually want to work with me, whether that be a realtor, a buyer, somebody on Instagram. Like leaning into that, who you are is your personal brand. Like Gino, I forget the gentleman's name, but there's a guy at your call. He's the loan doctor. He wears a stethoscope around his neck.
The mortgage doc.
Yeah. So that to me is like I have this little event that I do, and I was at that, and she's like, Sean, I need to build my personal brand like you did. Like Denise Donahue wears the mortgage nerd glasses, and you wear the backwards hat and the black shirt. And she's like, I need a shtick. And I was like, well, I don't have one of those. I was like, the glasses are a shtick. It's a marketing tool. It's a way for her to be remembered. The mortgage doc, stethoscope, a way to be remembered. But I don't believe that's their personal brands. Their personal brands are who they are. And so I was like, no. This is just because I don't want to think about what to wear every day. Like, that's what this is. And I was like, this isn't a shtick. If it's a shtick, it's not authentic. And if you want to build a personal brand, you need to be an authentic person, and then you can add your marketing to it. Marketing and personal brand are two different things.
I so love that you went there because I wanted to get into that today because, for me, and it's funny because you guys say your personal brand is what you are. There are so many things that I have my hands in, right? Entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm in a lot of different verticals. I'm in real estate investment, mortgage, cars, watches, this, that, the other thing, right? And all this, but what my personal brand is, the barbecue guy. And you know what? And that's my passion. That's my hobby. So that's not wrong. That's who I am. And then in the beginning of the year, and I have to say, I have slacked a little bit on my social media, but in the beginning of the year, I started doing a bunch of stuff, and I was showing making espresso and this, that, and the other thing. And my wife goes, what are you doing? What is your social media about? I'm like, it's about me. I drink coffee in the morning. I drive cars that I really enjoy. I'm in financials and investments. And so those are the things I'm going to talk about is my life. I just have to talk about my life. I don't have to make anything up. And, and for me, and this is my pet peeve right now, is I watch a lot of Instagram channels, and listen, nobody gives a shit about the NAR settlement. Nobody gives, like, these are all things that are happening in our business. I don't know that we need to spend all that much time on these huge macro things where 72 people are going to record the same video every day, right? Something came from FHA today. 72 or 150 or 3,000 loan officers are going to record that same video today. Is that going to make someone choose you or not? I don't think so.
Well, and I think too, when you look at, oh, hey, there we go. Look at you guys.
There we go.
Got it all teed up. Got it all teed up. But Sean, I think you brought up a good point is, shticks, they're cool if they work. And it just kind of like turns into a thing. I would say the shtick chooses you, not you chooses the shtick. So like, I don't know. People have told me like what my shtick is. It was news to me when they told me that, because I'm like, oh, okay, that's what people think about me. But I think, really, if you look at the best shticks, they stuck them. They didn't try to shtick the shtick. But I think that to kind of get a little bit more hyper-focused here, when you think about, there's a famous Seth Godin quote, and I'm going to say it the way Seth says it, and then I'm going to say it the way that y'all can use it in your businesses. So the way Seth, and this is the best quote I've ever heard. So Seth Godin says, marketing is people like us do things like this. And it is the best, it's the best quote. And what he means by this is that when people are operating in the world, they are looking at everything and saying, does someone like who I'm trying to become do that? And that's how people make their decisions. That's how they buy the cars, right? Somebody who has tons and tons of money who will buy a Toyota Corolla that's 10 years used intentionally because he wants to buy a car maximally depreciated and lose no money on it. That's his identity. And so he's going to choose a car that lines up with that. And this is how people make their decisions. Sean's chilling in his van. It's a very Sean, anybody who knows Sean, it's a very Sean thing to do. So when Sprinter vans became a thing, by the way, Sean was like an OG Sprinter van. He's like, everybody's bought a Sprinter van now. Sean bought this thing back when like he was weird for buying the Sprinter van.
You had to figure it out. There was no kits or $170,000 builds. You had to figure it out as you went.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a utility vehicle, right? That's how long he's had it, but it was a very Sean thing to buy. And so, my point by that is Sean saw that, was like, oh, I love that idea. Bought, didn't even blink an eye at the price tag, bought the ticket. And this is how people make decisions. They always are saying to someone, so here's how to apply this as loan officers. All right, everybody ready for this? And write this down. This is really great. Does a real estate agent like me do business with a loan officer like that? I'm going to say it one more time. Does a real estate agent like me do business with a loan officer like that? That right there is how this industry works. And this is why a lot of loan officers are struggling or quitting the business right now is they got a lot of their like little onesie twosie agents who just like kind of like kicking them little deals here and there. Well, now the only agents left in the game are the top 5% consistently, right? And so you could even hyper focus your search now and say, do those agents use a loan officer like me? And I would say there's enough to go around. So I'm not trying to talk about scarcity here. But again, when these people are reflecting on themselves, they will work with a loan officer who they believe fits them well. And so if they love materialistic things, they're going to like a very materialistic loan officer, right? And if they like, like Sean turns off a lot of people and Sean loves it. He's like very... Sean like loves to piss rich, snobby people off. I don't, because I want their money. And so I operate in a different capacity, but that quote is how this works. This is people choose the loan officer who they believe will enhance their like life's agenda. I mean, it just really is. And so to Sean, the reason I bring up Sean's point is there are people who unsubscribe from like elitism and this like superiority complex and this masculinity nonsense. And so Sean likes that. He's tattooed. He's never going to dress up for you. You get Sean. And so Sean attracts people like that. But there are people.
I have seen Sean wear some decently nice clothes.
Well, we have. But my point is this is how people are making their referral partner decisions. And so now let me be one thing clear before I get Sean's take on this, because I always love Sean and I are like same, but not the same. Here's the thing that I'm saying. I'm not saying sell out. I'm not saying, sell the vacation house and buy a box seat at the thing so that you can get people who like to sit in box seats. I'm not asking you to change. I'm just asking you to stop trying to please everyone and decide what you are, because there's enough of those people to make you rich. But if you keep just changing who you are, it's very confusing for these referral partners to know what you are. And so because I always tell everybody, you're like a gas station vanilla shake. You're not Dairy Queen. You're not the nice burger. You're like this like shake that no one really cares about, that's just at this gas station that no one talks about, and no one picks those because it doesn't really say anything about what it is. Sean, what's your clean up what I said?
Yeah, well, so one thing I want to do is I did want to come back to the shtick thing, right? So like by no means when we say shtick, I don't think we're saying it as a negative term, but I was thinking about it while we were talking, and the mortgage doc figured out who he is, right? And then he figured out the thing that would represent that as a marketing tool, right? Denise, it's crazy how fast you built those. Denise came up with the mortgage nerd first and then made sure she had the glasses. Today, I drove up the mountain to make sure that I was fitting the adventure lender. So the mortgage nerd, the mortgage doc, adventure lender is the marketing piece, but it's not the personal brand. So the three of us in those examples are doing things purposely and purposefully to make sure that we are tying together from a marketing perspective the brand. And I drove 20 minutes up this hill to come be in a better spot to like live up to what I believe I'm supposed to be. It took more work to do that, right? But that's not who I am. And so for me, like Roland said, I like to piss off rich people. That's not true. I am who I am, and I don't think, and so this is where Roland and I go, we're the same but different. You can't choose who you want to be. You already are who you are. So if you said, you know what, I want a guy like Gino to be my client. I hate aquariums. I hate fancy cars, and I'm a vegan, but I'm going to pretend to be all those things because I want Gino's money. That is disingenuous and inauthentic immediately. It's just not who you are. So let Gino work with somebody Gino would want to work with and go, you know what, this is who I am. Who would be attracted to working with me? And then you get to Roland's point of, okay, I can actually enjoy my life and enjoy this job because I'm doing it with purpose to reach people that I would actually relate to and like to work with. And then it's like, okay, now how do I find more of them, right? And that goes back to what Roland was saying about Seth Godin. People like us do things like this. And then clients, realtors, buyers like us need mortgage people like this. And then you find your people because you cannot serve everyone. And if you try to go and be the perfect guy to Gino, and then you switch and go, oh my gosh, that guy Sean, he has a $2 million house in the Bay Area. I want his money too. So I'm going to put on a backwards hat and go surf. It's like, you can't do all those things. So you have to start. And this is why what's so crazy to me, and Roland and I have talked about this a ton. I'm not going to say pretend, but people are so scared to just be themselves because they're fearful they're going to lose something. When the reality is you're going to gain everything as soon as you embrace that. Life just gets better. It does, like almost somewhat automatic.
Yeah, it's funny. You said I am who I am. So for many, many years, Don called me Popeye, right? Because I'm like that. I'm just totally transparent. I am who I am. If you like me, great. If you don't like me, that's okay too. I remember the first time Don came to me, he's like, man, that realtor, what did you do to her? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, she really doesn't like you. I mean, I was heartbroken. Like I had never heard that somebody didn't like me, like ever. And, I was a high I, always trying to keep everybody happy. And so I was like heartbroken. Then that slowly started me down the path of, I don't care. She doesn't like me. I don't care. That's not my problem. I'm not going to change who I am for that one person. Right. And so I think today, the one thing that's interesting, and I'm going to tie two things together here. One that I heard from Todd Duncan, and then the other one, I'm not quite sure where I picked it up. But at Todd's High Trust Sales Academy, he says, your conversion ratio is how trustworthy you are. And I really let that sink in for a minute. And they said, if they go with someone else, it's because they don't trust you. It's not because of your price. It's not because of anything else. And so as I think that we're talking about this personal brand concept that we've labeled this, and this authenticity movement that we're seeing everywhere in sales right now is the evolution of sales, because we used to have to be all these personas, and you used to have to be a hard closer, and you have to do all these things. And today it's different. Today you just have to be you. People just want you to be you. And so I think you guys have both really embraced that. And that's what we want to inspire everybody on this call to do, is to be you and attract the people you attract, right? If, like, for example, we have a friend of ours, one of Daryl, who works here at our company with us. He's a veteran. So he hangs out, he works at the gun range, and he hangs out with veterans. So most of his business is veteran business. And that's wonderful. That totally makes sense. Right? So most of my business should be car people, barbecue people, and kind of, I think if we get into alignment with who we are and who we can attract, then I think that's really, when you build your attraction list, when you go look at those top producers that you're going after, be like, am I even in alignment with this person?
And the other piece of it, I think, for us is kind of going back to what Neil said this morning. I'm really glad I jumped on that for a second, because your personal brand can get you out of the rat race, right? That if you want to be an influencer and you want to get sponsored ads and all these things and make funny videos on Instagram or whatever social media you choose, you can get yourself into a play. Well, it's just a new rat race, right? It's a different rat race. If you want to do it here, you can still serve people that maybe they're not the barbecue guy, or you're a veteran and you don't only work with veterans, because you're solutions oriented, right? So step one is you have to be seen by the people you're supposed, and I always say supposed to serve, because I do believe we were put here to help a certain group of people. We can't help everybody. So, okay, now I know who I'm supposed to serve, because this is who I am, and I'm not scared to be myself. The sooner I'm myself, all of them will be attracted to me, as long as I still have to market, right? But now that I have that, these realtors do have problems. So going back, like Gina was talking about the NAR thing, like, should you make videos about NAR? Yeah, absolutely. You need, but not talking about it, providing solutions to their problems. So like another Seth Godin thing is, nobody wanted to buy a 1/4-inch drill bit, but they needed a 1/4-inch hole, right? Everybody on this call provides something that quite literally nobody wants. Nobody wants a mortgage at all. We're all sitting here going, hey, let me show you how to get rid of that faster, right? We're trying to help them get rid of the thing we provide, but they need it to get the house. So we have to solve problems for people. And the NAR thing, it's like, don't talk about it unless it's like, hey, I have a solution, right? And then if you're being yourself, and then you have the confidence that you have solutions for people that they can actually benefit and have better lives as a result of, now I have a really good reason to call or email or make a video or do this or that, because I confidently feel that I can solve your problems. And I've screwed that up lately. I've become arrogant in my approach. And I had a realtor, I did an event, like basically this office had me talk for like 10 minutes unexpectedly, started doing my thing. And there I do a cocktail party. And then I did a lunch and learn to follow that up. And one of the agents came and she like was telling me a story about this deal that went sideways. And, you know, she called 5 other lenders, and I'm like, you didn't call me. And then she like kind of brushed that off. I did my presentation, would happen to be on personal brand and NAR settlement. And it ended, and she comes up to me. She's like, Sean, I got to be honest. I after I first met you, I wanted nothing to do with you. She's like, I just thought you were this arrogant guy trying to tell us what to do. And I am so glad I came today. And it's like, and I said in that presentation, I feel like I believe what I believe, and I'm so confident in the solutions and service that I provide, that my confidence sometimes comes across as arrogant. And she completely validated that. And so what do I do with that? Just be like, oh, I'm not adventure lender anymore. I'm arrogant lender from now on, and deal with it. No, like I have to pull back and go, okay, what am I doing in my communication that made her feel that way? Because if she felt that way, other people did too.
Well, I mean, I feel this way. Sean, you and I have talked about this. You know, it's so tempting when I go to speak at a mortgage conference. I know what works. And so I can say some nonsense that'll work, and everyone will get all excited, and they'll get their credit cards out, and they'll jump on it. I know what that is. You know, Grant Cardone is a great example of this. He plays on the insecurities of young men, and it works beautifully. They all want what he has. And that's kind of this battle that Sean's really talking about, is it's like, you know, do you beat the drum of like the traditional stuff, or do you beat yours? And I think kind of Gino hit on this. You know, when you look at the new economy, the way that this is working, you know, Gino, you hit on it beautifully. We went through this like, oh, we couldn't close, so we had to like hard close and strong arm people into buying. And then it was like, oh, no one trusts us anymore. So then it was like, what are all these artificial strategies to like build trust? And it's just like these stupid lines of like, I don't want to say them because I'm going to hurt people's feelings, but these ridiculous lines of like, oh, say this to them and then they'll trust you. It's like, well, now people are falling for that nonsense, or aren't falling for that nonsense, because every salesperson did all the closing stuff. They did all like the fake trust and fake authenticity stuff. And then this last phase was really interesting. Everyone thought that they could just swipe their credit card to success, right? So they're buying Bonzo and HomeBot, and they're just swiping the credit card like, okay, if I acquire all these fancy things, then I'll be fancy and everyone will use me. Except for the fact that every other loan officer bought the same fancy stuff. So now it's like, it's just average now. Everyone's got a fancy TCA presentation. Everyone's got, so, fancy is no longer fancy anymore because we live in this place. So the reason when Gino was bringing some of that stuff up and how it's not working, the reason that we're talking about this and the reason Sean and I feel so passionately about it is I genuinely fear if loan officers don't get around this new way of doing business, they're going to struggle. You just can't weasel your way into success, have 180 cold calls a week. You just can't do that stuff anymore. It's just not working. People have seen it. It's old news. Authenticity is king. And again, this isn't a fad. I love when people, I don't know, Sean, if you've heard this before, people will be like, oh, this personal branding is a fad. I'm like, okay, maybe in the way you define it. But being authentic is not a fad. I believe this is the last stop. In my opinion, I believe this is the last stop. We've exhausted hustling and selling people. Freaking social media is just even if it's not an ad, it's like an ad. Like every other thing is either a sponsored ad or a free ad. It's just self-promotion nonsense for days, to the point where we have destroyed everyone's trust. We've destroyed the use of their attention. It's gotten so ugly out there that all that remains is showing someone what you actually are. Next, I'm going to post a link in here so you guys can do it. Next, Sean's going to be on with me, but it's going to be me, Sean, Denise, and Shayla. So you guys can click the link in the chat and join up. Yeah, I know, right? It was killer. We did it about a year ago, and everyone's been harassing me to do it again. So we're going to do it again. This one's going to be even better. I'm going to piss more people off, but the people who don't quit the webinar and stay are going to like it. But it's exactly this last point that I talked about. It's like, when you watch Sean, when you watch Denise, when you watch Shayla, their mortgage is like this part of it. But then there's, Sean's driving hours. How far away is that place so the kids can ride the bulls?
Oh, dude, it's everywhere now, but at least 2 hours.
Yeah, so I mean, Sean's driving 2 hours so that his son can, ride some bulls and dork around with a new area. Shayla, just for those who follow Shayla just drove out to SoCal for a 1-day horse thing with her daughter. My point is, these people dominate their market share because they're these epic husbands, fathers, wives, mothers. They're just these epic community members, and it's. So to me, when you're thinking about personal branding, it's like, think about your own legacy that you wanted to fulfill when you were 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, 23, 24. Go back to like playing life for that legacy, and then document your journey of you leaving this epic legacy that you want to be remembered for before your time's up. That's your brand. And if you do that, you'll have unlimited money in every area. It's the one universal thing that connects not just all humans, but connects all high-level entrepreneurs is, what are you though without your job? That's what entrepreneurs look at. Like, okay, fine, you do your job well and you hustle and you crush it. That's great. So do I. So do a lot of people. But what are you underneath that? And that's that universal connecting point. And to me, I believe there's enough people there who will like someone like you underneath your job, that if you show that to enough people, there's enough to make you rich. I believe that. It's an abundant world out there. But again, if you don't show people that place and you're just this like hustler, again, there's no shortage of hustlers and people who want money. Those people are everywhere. And so I think that's the problem in this industry is if you're just going to flex and crush it and hustle harder and wear those ridiculous memes about being the last one out of the office. It's just, that's kind of, there's nothing really that unique about being desperate for more money. That's a very common personal brand. So we got to have something else behind it.
Yeah, I want to answer Troy's question just from my own personal experience. When I was younger, it was so important for me to show people that I was intelligent. That's really what I was always focused on. And so you come across like pounding your chest, like, I know this and I know that and I know this, and you should work with me because I'm genius. And it's like, well, you just come off like a dick. That's really what happens. It's like, the truth of the matter is you don't sound smart. You sound arrogant and condescending. Like if you talk above people, they're not going to trust you. They're not going to like you. They're not going to work with you. So I think for me, it's like you could be confident in the way, like Sean said earlier, in the way you solve problems. You could be confident in your process, your systems, and the experience you provide for consumers. You could be confident without having to be braggadocious or show who you are. So I think it's just this whole, like you said, let's call it like the last leg or the last stand of authenticity is actually like a full circle thing back to being human.
There's a big difference between being proud of yourself and trying really, really hard to get people to think something about you. Really big difference between those two. And I think there's nothing wrong with being proud of yourself. That's one thing that Seth Godin also says. He says, he goes, everybody's been trying to be humble for so long, to the point where he's like, we have nobody who's proud of themselves anymore. Everyone's just like hiding and like winning in secrecy. And that's just, I agree with Seth Godin. I think we need more people who are proud to be themselves. The one reason I brought Sean, Denise, and Shayla on with me here at the end of next month is that's the vibe, is like, these people are proud to be them. Whereas most people in this world want to be someone better than they are. And you can tell that comes through in your personal brand when you're like, man, I wish I was better than me. Man, who wants to send business to somebody who wants to be somebody else? I don't.
I think, Roland, you were saying personal brand everyone's saying it's a fad. I think the term personal brand is currently a fad. Absolutely. I think it really shows how far away we've gotten from being human, the fact that word exists. Like I remember there was an event, I don't remember which one it was, but Roland and I were sitting together and Chris Doe was on stage teaching everyone how to build their personal brand. And I just looked to my left and right and everyone's like hanging on his every word. And I was like, Roland, this guy's sitting here teaching us how to be ourselves. And that makes me really sad. Mm-hmm. Like that bums me out that is happening. And it does. But I think because of social media, because of all these things, I think the internet has created a level of transparency that didn't exist before. It's like in the 80s, you could truly be a salesperson and there was no way for people to like kind of fact check you or really know who you were outside of the ad you put in the newspaper or whatever, right? I need a mortgage. This guy said some clever words on a newspaper ad that made me think I could get a great mortgage from him. So I got the mortgage from him. And the internet has humanized every business. And I think that's a good thing because we now get to be more than just clever words on a page. And there's something to be said for marketing, but marketing is not gimmicks either. They're two separate things. So that's what I think has been cool for me, was just getting to a place of, I can't serve everyone. Who do I want to serve? How do I want to serve them? Okay, I feel really good that this is the best thing these people can have. So I'm going to run with that. Like I give away jumbo deals all the time because I don't believe I'm the best person to serve those people when their profile fits something that my buddy at Wells Fargo could do better for them. Like I would not feel good about myself giving somebody a rate in the high sixes when I know they have $1 million they could flip to Wells and get into the fives. Mm-hmm. Like I'm doing them a disservice by selling them something that's far more expensive instead of referring it to somebody that is going to be better. Those buyers would now trust me more, right? And they'll tell their friends that don't have $1 million, and then I'll help those people, right? Like I was at a little get together this weekend with my wife's friends and their husbands, and they all do really, really well in all kinds of different businesses. And they were asking me how mine works. And I was like, I don't really do a lot here. And they're like, why not? Don't you want the like high end? I'm like, no. I'm like, because all you guys have your money managers and your money managers leverage the money you have with them. So I would never be able to provide for you what you can get through Merrill or Morgan Stanley or Wells or whatever. I go, who I serve is this. And I listed it out. And I was like, and serving a lot of those people enables me to live here and get to have these conversations with you. It's not on accident. And I think a lot of people are trying to let their business happen. They're not trying to, they're letting their business happen on accident without intention. And so that's where personal brand comes first, then intention of how I'm going to reach these people. And then going at it like I truly believe I'm the best solution for this group of people. And there's hundreds, if not thousands of them that you can help every single month. So the scarcity mindset immediately goes away once you get to that point.
And untethered to one thing that you said there I love, Sean, was, you know, when you're crafting the brand, pretend you're not going to do mortgage anymore when you craft your brand. Craft a brand as if you were in insurance, craft a brand and as if you were, you know, running for local political office. Because I think people corrupt their personal brand with mortgage nonsense. And like the only people who care about mortgage nonsense is other loan officers. So like when you look at a lot of these guys who have like banging content, like really impressive edited content. If you look at all the people who liked it, it's other loan officers who create content. So like they're just like jerking each other off. It's like this weird thing. It's just like it's just so stupid to me. So like create the brand outside of your particular affiliation with what you do for career. I had a guy in his name's Kobe. He just signed up for our coaching program, and his big thing, I loved his thing. He's told me, Roland, I have a lot of businesses. I don't want to just have a personal brand for mortgage. I want to make sure. And I said, yeah, cool. We won't post any mortgage stuff. No one likes that crap anyways. So I told him, I was like, that's the one part that like realtors skip. Everybody skips your mortgage video. So like, let's just like stop posting it. And yeah, let them know that you're a loan officer. But I don't think you need to remind them as often as everyone thinks. I think that, you know, to me, there's a finite amount of, and everyone needs to listen to this too. There's a finite amount of attention. Let's call it 100 impressions total throughout the day. Let's say every single person's going to give things 100 impressions. And sure, technology will move forward and they'll be able to sneak ads in. And so maybe they'll get it up to 150 impressions because, you know, soon there'll be ads playing on, you know, out in the boonies somewhere because of technology. But in the end, there's still going to be a ceiling on impressions. People only have so much intention. And every day that goes by, more and more people are going to be competing for those pieces of attention. And so I would really ask everyone to really, you know, when you're crafting your brand and when you're choosing what you're going to put out there, honor the fact that you're taking their attention from them. So don't just like be throwing stuff out there. Like, you know, really, really think, hey, if this is the one thing that someone's going to see from me, what is that one thing I would want them to see? And my guess is it's not a 2-1 buy down video. Certainly not now anymore, because now you're not looking so smart with your buy down no more. But that's the thing is like, be really, I would just really encourage everyone before you send an email out, really ask like, is this an email I would open? Is this email enhancing these people's lives? Because if it's not, I would just do them and yourself a favor and not send it. I think a lot of people are destroying their personal brands faster than they're building them by sending out canned emails that their company wrote. I would really recommend that you stop doing that. You're training them to stop opening your emails. That's what you're doing.
I love
yeah. Like what I was going to say on that, because that reminded me of another time we were at an event and this guy came up to Roland and I were hanging out, and this guy comes up to us and he's, Sean, you know, once you have your videos on Instagram, and then how do you move them into your DMs or from your DMs into an automated text thing? And I'm like, why are we all trying to remove ourselves from this business? Like we say that we want people to come work with us, and then once they work with us, we want to replace ourselves with technology so that they don't have to work with us. Like that's kind of broken. And that's where I agree with Roland on the canned email stuff. Like our company, they have all these drip campaigns and this and that. They're all turned off. I don't send anything. And I'll send a video every Friday. Like Roland sends, you know, if we are Roland's clients, right? We're the people Roland wants to reach. For me, it's a little bit of that, but it's mainly home buyers and realtors. So I send a video out every week of what I think is of value. Otherwise I'm not sending. And there's been weeks where it's like, I don't really have anything to say, so I'm not sending anything. Right? It's not, oh, I said I'd send a video Friday, so I have to send a video this Friday. No, if you don't have any value to add, just be quiet. And I think Ryan had a good comment about leading with heart, not ego. And that's what I think personal brand really is. You're speaking with your heart. Like that is who you are. That is your personal brand. I put a video on, just a story on Instagram. I was helping somebody, bunch of debt, and I forget exactly what it was, but I like said, hey, this is what I'm working on and this is what they're dealing with, and here's the solution. And I had 3 people go, dude, I'm in that same position. I didn't post the video going, I'm going to have an auto bot that gets these people to do debt consolidation refis with me. but it gave me an opportunity to have a genuine conversation to help them, because I knew that there were more people in that situation and I don't want them to feel alone, right? Oh my gosh, there are more people like me and Sean's helping them, so maybe Sean can help me. And that was the intent, was you're not alone, and if I can help them, I can help you. But I didn't say do this, take action. I just put it out there, and that is speaking from the heart.
I'm posting one of my blogs. You guys can read it. This is a social media post that one of my clients posted. You guys can read what he wrote there, but he was extremely vulnerable and honest with everyone. And it was his most, he had, I can't remember what the statistics were, but he had like over 10 agents reach out to him via text, not through comment on his social media post, but via text. And they were just like, bro, thanks for sending it. They had a really deep conversation. And that's the beauty of leading, again, leading with heart. Let's make that even easier for everyone to wrap their head around. It's just, it's untethering the difference between most people like wake up and just do work. Like that's what their life consists of. They have like work and just like programs that they like to run in their brain. And that's like their entire life. And they basically do it until they can't do it anymore. And then they live like this mediocre retirement and die. And, if you unplugged from all of those programs and you made all of the programs in your own head that you ran, they were put there by you by choice, not something that you learned, not something that another person tried to convince you to do. If you just invented your entire day, the things that you enjoy, the things that you value, the things that you believe in, and you spent your whole day engaging in those things, that's the most heart-centered personal brand there is. You literally, and that's why I'm bringing Sean, Denise, and Shayla with me on my thing at the end of next month is, that's what they do. It's like, they just do them stuff. They write the rules. And then they find a way, they make rules that so most people hate their job and they can't wait to stop. None of those people coming hate their job. They make their own rules and then they find a way, they find rules they love to play and then they play those rules and then they get rich. That's what I'm saying. It's the danger of hiring coaches is that someone could essentially program you to become someone you're not. And that's been happening
I could jump in on that, Roland, and I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, please.
I want to touch on that because people sometimes ask Don and I, because we're connected to all the coaches in the entire industry, at least the ones that we believe are the best ones to help people. And through Momentum Builder, they say, why do you guys have 15 different coaches? Why do you have 20 different coaches? Isn't there one or two that are the best? And I said, absolutely not, because it has to do with who is the right coach for me, where I am today, and where I want to go. Right. And so you might be a great coach for me, Roland, if I'm trying to do X, Y, Z. Right. But if I'm not trying to do X, Y, Z, then maybe Todd Duncan's the right guy. Right. If I'm trying to generate leads from open houses, Sean is your dude. Like, so everybody has different skill sets, different personalities. So there is no such thing as the best coach. But first, if you identify who you are, who you want to be, because it's okay to try to improve. It's okay to want to learn new skills and approach new people and up your circle of sphere of influence. All of that's great if that's who you are and who you want to be, and then pick the right coach for that. But yeah, trying to learn a magic trick if you're not a magician, those days are gone.
Mm-hmm. You're hiring people to help you be more you. So just choose carefully, because I would say that's actually not, most of the coaches are not coaches, they're consultants. So they have a plan, they teach you their plan, and they say, go do this plan. Coaching is not that. Coaching is a very laborious, it's a very client-driven activity. The client's driving the ship and the coach is simply just connecting the dots. I mean, it's a very, very different. And again, consulting has its place. I'm hiring 2 consultants right now for different things. And so it's just know what you're doing and know what the outcome is going to be. Because a lot of these coaches are actually consulting services and they're just going to say, hey, go make X number of calls and do this and do this and do this. And so, that's just know what you're buying, right?
Yeah.
And that's like,
you don't have discipline, you can go buy discipline, I guess. Accountability partner.
But you can't. So like I have somebody last week that I'm coaching and I was just like, you know what? I don't think we should do this anymore, you know? And it's like, wait, what? Like, I'm paying you. I'm like, yeah, I don't want you to, because nothing's changing. Like, we're meeting, we're doing these calls, but nothing's changing. So like, what's the purpose of it? You know, like, why are we doing this? And I wanted him to ask himself that question. Like, wait, why am I doing this? And like, to Roland's point, consulting, I could say, hey, go do this, here's what I do, and go do exactly what I do. And now the problem is we've gotten away from personal brand because he's not me. So we started off on the wrong foot immediately. But what I could do is go, hey, let's figure out why you're not doing these things. Like, there's a psychological or emotional fear that is preventing you from doing the things that you know will move you forward, right? Like, we identified what he's good at, what he enjoys doing in this job, and he's still not doing them. And I mean, we got down to it was just like, well, I'm scared of like, what if it doesn't work? And I was like, well, dude, I do a ton of stuff that doesn't work, but I don't know unless I try. And so that, Roland put it really well, consulting versus coach, right? Like, but again, it's not do it, staying on topic for this call, personal brand. As soon as you go to somebody like, hey, I'm making $1 million a year and I'm going to show you how. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do what you do. You already lost because you're not them. For some people, the people that do succeed with that model are doing what they are good at and what they're supposed to be doing. You can't do something that you're not meant to do.
Last thing I'll say here to take it home is right off the back of what Sean just said, which is the most valuable thing you can do. And this isn't just in this market. Y'all should have done this like a decade ago, but now is a great time to do it, is figure out what you are outside of everything. Your kids, you're not a parent. You happen to have kids, but you are not a parent. Your identity did not change because you had kids. You are not a loan officer. This industry could go away very, very easily, right? And so like, you're not any of these things. You're you. And you need to find out what that is. You need to learn how to articulate it. You need to learn to love it and embrace it. That is like the ground of like every like awesome entrepreneur who like just crushes everything that they touch. That's the one thing that they have in common. They know what they are. They know what they're good at. They know what they enjoy. They know what they don't enjoy. You know, they've really figured out who they are, and then they place themselves strategically in an area where someone like that would thrive. And so that would be my thing for those of you who are like trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to make, how am I going to start, you know, cresting 7 figures again in this industry? It can be done, but it's going to be done doing what I just said. There's not going to be any CRM service that's going to like put you on the map anymore. That's just not going to happen. It's going to be the person, you're going to get put on the map because other people want you on the map. That like that's the key. I mean, people want Shayla to win. They want Denise to win. They want Sean to win. They want me to win. Like, these people use, I don't even own, like, my business back in Portland, Oregon, and my referral partners still comment on my social media posts, and they know I haven't worked there for almost 10 years. But that's the point, is like, they want me to succeed. And the only reason they want me, they know who I am. The only reason they know that they want me to succeed is because they know who I am. And so that would be what I tell people, is figure out what you are outside of all the stuff that you think makes you you. That stuff doesn't make you you. You know, you aren't a parent, you aren't a loan officer. You're actually somebody who has a skill set and a unique way of thinking. And if you can articulate that, man, even if you're not an entrepreneur, you will find some company will pay you a $500,000 salary to do you for their company. And again, it's just a hallmark of successful people. They know exactly what they are, and then they just place themselves strategically so that they can thrive.
Sean, you want to drop one last nugget? Bring us home.
I feel like we're good, but I guess for me,
we can. I just wanted to give you a shot there.
No, I appreciate it, but yeah, like I think I always try to end when we have these conversations the same, of like, the only ask I have of everyone who's watching or listening to this, just go be you. Like, go do it, and then the things work out. And when that voice in your head tells you not to do it, right? The negative voice that we all have, that's not your voice. Actually, this is a great quote. I'll leave with this. Joel Turner is an archery coach that I went to, and he was teaching us like how the psychology behind it. And he said, thoughts are not thinking. Thoughts happen automatically. Thinking is what you do to overcome that thought, right? So anytime I have that negative thought, that isn't me. And then like, to speak, you have to think, right? Thoughts happen automatically, but speaking takes effort. When I talk, this is the thinking coming out of my mouth. So just stick with that. okay, I want to go do everything that Roland and Sean were talking about, but I'm scared. I'm going to fail. Wait, I can shut that down and I can just, thoughts are not thinking. I'll leave with that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys this. I've used this multiple times lately just because I believe in it so much. The only thing to be afraid of really is regret. That's really the only thing to be fearful in life is regret, right? When you're in your deathbed, regret is the only thing you're going to have left. You're going to have some joys and you're going to have regrets. And so I always say, don't have regret about not trying something. Like I believe, and Don does too. It's like we try a lot of stuff. Like you said, Sean, we try all kinds of shit that doesn't work. Like we just do. And so, but I never regret anything that I failed at. I learned from it. It's an educational experience, but I never regret failing. I only regret the things I haven't tried and haven't done. So those are the things that I focus on. Those are the things that keep me up at night. It's like, man, I really wanted to do this and I haven't done it. I'm never regret.
I agree. This whole like, oh God, I don't want, this whole like not investing in yourself so that you can preserve your like savings. It's like, dude, you know how easy it is to make like 300K? Like, why are you like trying to cost cut your way to success? It's like, dude, you need to be the opposite. Like, get these problems solved now, like immediately, get them out of the way as fast as possible. And yeah, I just do, cost cutting, you're not going to be able to cost cut your way to success right now. So for those of you who are like hunkering down, it's just not a great idea. I haven't met a single entrepreneur who thrived doing that.
All right, gang. Well, look at Sonia, man. She's been putting up collateral the whole time we've been on the call. I'm so glad that I joined you guys. I know I wasn't supposed to be here today. Hope you didn't mind.
Yeah, it was great. Awesome.
I just saw my bros on and I was actually ended up being available. So I was like, I'm coming on. But so we could do this for hours, but unfortunately we can't. And we are going to feature a couple of people. We're going to skip next week. We're going to Mastermind Summit. So hopefully all of you are there learning, meeting coaches, honing in your trade, finding out who you are and who you want to be. And then after that, we've got Jordan Nutter coming on, and she's traveling around in an RV, traveling the nation. So there's someone who's working on who they are. I didn't know who she was till she started doing that. So she put herself on the map doing that. And our good friend Josh Pitts is traveling the world on a sailboat. So this is the world we live in today. And then Josh and I are going to be on, Josh Metal and I are going to be on, and we're going to talk about inflation a little bit, but we're also going to talk about just overall financial health. I think it's something this industry we need to talk about is how financial literacy is important. Why are we helping people with the best and most important part of their lives with a $600 or $1 million loan if our financial house isn't in order? How can you be confident that you're giving them great advice if you're not good with your own? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Good to see you. Join us always on the app. Would love to see some of these posts in the app, Roland, some of the stuff you guys posted today, some of these links. Would love people to be able to share them there.
Right on, you guys. Thanks again.